Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Broncos Scoop. My name is Abigail. I'm a third-year chemistry major. I'm here with my friend Dakari.
Hi everyone, I'm Dakari. I am a third-year transfer in the psychology program.
And we're so happy to have you here. Here at Broncos Scoop, it's just us Broncos or Cal Poly Pomona students talking everything about Cal Poly Pomona and college. So anything you might have and any questions that you might think of. But today, the topic we want to cover is college myths. So there might be some ideas you might have heard circulating around while you're in high school, while you're in community college. Are these true? Are these just myths? Are they something that's based off of fact? And that's something that we're going to cover today. So stay tuned to see what we hear. So the first myth is that when you're applying for college, when you apply undeclared, it's going to be easier to get into college, or that you can declare or change your major orientation, or even declare or change it before fall. Now, why is this a myth? Now, everybody has the same opportunity to go into college, whether you apply undeclared or you apply for a major. The only thing that makes it more difficult is if you apply for an impacted major. That means it'd be easier to get into undeclared. However, if you apply undeclared, you cannot change your major at orientation. You have to wait until after the first semester at Cal Poly Pomona. So it's up to you. There's nothing wrong with applying undeclared, as mentioned in our previous episode, but it does push you back a semester. So during that time, you would either be filling out your GEs and maybe doing a little bit of exploring to see what you want to do if you haven't figured it out. So it's always important that you really, when you make a decision when applying for your major, just know that you won't be able to change that until after your first semester.
I've definitely heard that one before, that I'll just apply as undeclared and then I'll make my decision once I get there, and there's just a bit more to it than that.
Yeah, and every school is different what their policy is. Cal Poly Pomona, you make sure that once you have a decision, you have to stick to it for at least a semester. Second one, college only means a 4-year degree. Now, there are many different types of colleges and different types of degrees. College is really just a shorthand way of saying that education or training after high school. So certificates and training programs at community college and trade schools can take less than a year. Your associate's degree usually takes about 2 years, but the common element is that learning and training keeps going on after high school. Something else I wanted to bring up, another myth, is that college is unaffordable. In fact, you could actually pay for college. Most students don't pay full prices, even if they do pay. There's a net price calculator that you can use to get an estimate of what you'll actually pay, after including some financial aid. So every year, Cal Poly Pomona posts an estimate of what students pay, whether it's including tuition, housing costs, school supplies. They post it up there. So that includes students, who buy a new laptop every year or a new tablet. So they include all these expenses in your school supplies and things. So it's good to take a look at it, see if that's something you can compare with your financial aid package that you do receive. So, and even if you don't pay for it out of your financial aid package, a lot of students pay for college in a variety of ways. Like I said, with financial aid, earnings from part-time or full-time jobs, savings and money from parents and family. So we receive funds from where we can because it's definitely manageable.
Definitely. I've been so fortunate to have been awarded financial aid and things like that through college. So it's definitely affordable. I don't have that family support, so it's the financial aid, it's, oh my gosh, it helps a lot.
Yeah,
It's definitely affordable.
yeah, definitely. And for financial aid, the earlier you apply, the better. You get more financial aid for applying it, but it is awarded based on need, and there's always appeals you can make. Your financial situation can change. Go ahead and make those appeals because they'll award them if you need them. And if you, even if your financial aid package isn't that big, well, there's always scholarships and grants, which millions of scholarships, millions of dollars in scholarships and grants just get left alone because people just don't apply. So it's really important that you at least try, and you never know, you might be awarded them.
Another myth that it kind of ties into that one as well is that the more expensive that the school's tuition is, that equals a better quality of education. So this isn't, it's not necessarily true because cost and the value of education are very different. There's so many different factors that go into the tuition costs other than academics. Like there's like student fees, like the student services, your health fees, and different like for like different clubs, and there's just so many different things that go into tuition other than just paying for like your units per class, that the more expensive it is, it doesn't mean that it's a better quality education. A lot of low cost colleges, they provide excellent academics and they offer a great deal of resources that help provide support for student success.
Definitely. And at the same time, college is really what you make of it. And you can always look up the awards each college has won. It shows there's like Cal Poly Pomona is among the top producers of Latino doctorate recipients. It's one of the best in the West for engineering. It's even the best at one of the best at boosting social mobility for students. So it's really important. Look up the rankings. You'd be surprised, quality education for the cost.
That's honestly true because when I was looking up Cal Poly Pomona, I saw that they had a lot of like number one, number two, like different stats for many different categories for the campus. And it's a fairly cheap institution to attend. Like the tuition is not, it's not the most expensive CSU. And I feel like the quality of education that we get here, it definitely outweighs the costs. Like we get the hands-on and we get the quality from the professors. I definitely feel like they actually give us, they give us their all to make sure that we actually understand and retain what we get from classes. So although it is low cost, it's high value.
Yeah, definitely. And even in we'll post it in the video description, all the links that you can find out about Cal Poly Pomona's rankings. That way, you guys can check it out if you want. Find out what really Cal Poly Pomona is about. If it's something worth your see if it's worth what you want to get out of your education. Let me see. And then another myth that wanted to bring out is that you need to know what you want to study before you go to college. So really, college is your time to explore. So whether you go in as a major that you think you want, or you go in undeclared, this is your time to explore. The majority of students end up changing their major program during their college career, and this is nationwide. However, it's still worthwhile to explore your interests and potential career fields while in your high school and even in community college. Nothing is set in stone. You have to realize that you're likely to change either your career interests or your major interests. That's perfectly fine because it's like we've mentioned before, college is what you make of it. It's your time to make your decisions about where you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. I've changed my major from psychology to kinesiology back to psychology. It's just you have to figure out, what really feels good for you. You have to explore different ones. Whichever one feels the best fit for you is the one you'll go with.
Yeah, and you have to realize that as a human being, there's different sides to us. We have different interests, different hobbies, and we have the ability to explore these in college. So it might take us a while to decide on one. So I know for a while when I first went in, I went as in engineering, but then thinking I was going to go into engineering. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to stay in chemistry. So it decide your interests. Nothing's set in stone. You can pick and choose, change your mind. You're free to do so. You're in college.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most like transformative times of our years. We're learning more about ourselves and things like that. So it's not unusual for students to change their major and then probably change it back to something.
Definitely, definitely.
So another myth want to bust this myth is that community college is less than the traditional university, or that community college is only for students who didn't get accepted into the university, or that community college is just for students who perform poorly in academics. This couldn't be any further from the truth. Like, a degree is a degree, whether you get it at a technical school, a community college, or university. Your degree is an achievement. It doesn't, the institution you got it from means less. It's more about the work that you put in, and your achievement is, it's what it is. It doesn't matter the kind of institution. It's a huge accomplishment to be proud of. Community college is a good way to tackle your required general education courses at a lower cost than taking them at the university level. So, like, taking the route of high school to community college and then transferring into university, it saves money and it allows students that time to figure out their major, and it also better prepares students for the university level coursework. So, like, it's kind of like getting your feet wet before you dive all the way in. Transfer students are capable of being just as successful as traditional 4-year university students. Like, people who come from a community college into a university, it doesn't they're not less than, the students who come straight from high school into a 4-year university. It's just a different route, but the destination to getting your bachelor's is still the same. It doesn't have any less weight to it.
Definitely, definitely. Cal Poly Pomona does its best to accommodate its transfer students. We have the Polycentric or the Poly Transfer Center, which really helped the new transfer students make Cal Poly Pomona their new home, figure out if all their courses got transferred, if they came in with an ADT, which is an associate's degree with transfer, did it come through correctly? Because Cal Poly Pomona partners with a lot of the California community college systems where they could apply for an ADT transfer in which they get their associate's degree, and then they could transfer that credit and apply it towards their major so that they can continue on and have it also apply for their 4 years bachelor's.
Yeah, definitely. Cal Poly Pomona has a lot of programs for transfer students. Like, they have the Transfer Student Society, which is like a club that transfer students can join. They have their own Transfer Student Study Lounge. So Cal Poly Pomona is like, they welcome you in, and almost half of the student population at Cal Poly Pomona are transfer students. I believe it's like 40% of the entire population are transfer students. So it's definitely a good destination for all of our transfers. And I'm a transfer myself, so I could definitely attest to the quality that and the welcome that you feel as a transfer student in Cal Poly Pomona.
Yeah, definitely something to explore. They have all these pages on Instagram, so feel free to check them out to see what they're doing. Um, yeah, so it's definitely something to look into.
So, another myth that we wanted to talk about is that only students with high academic achievements are awarded scholarships. So, this is definitely false. A lot of scholarships, they focus on things other than the academics. Like, they'll look at the students' volunteer work, they'll look at their contribution to the community, like what kind of things they do to uplift their community to make it better. And they have a lot of scholarships for first generation students, like just the fact that you're the first in your family to go to college. They give you funds just to make sure that you have your success. And then they also award scholarships for student creativity and innovations. Like if you create something that's like groundbreaking or just really innovative that they feel is a good contribution to the world, you can get a scholarship just on that. You know, it's not purely about your academic success. And like Abigail said, there's millions of dollars every year that go unclaimed in scholarships just because students, they just don't apply for them.
Yeah, definitely. And there's two types of scholarships. So always keep in mind there's need based, so they'll award you scholarships based on your need. And then there's merit based. So like she said, based off of what you did for the community, what you were able to accomplish, or even just your academics. Those are still available for you. So make sure you look into all of them. There's different websites. Even right now, Cal Poly Pomona is finishing their scholarship fest, and it's when it awards students who are going to Cal Poly Pomona with scholarships for the following year. And there's always hundreds of them. There's a portal where we basically type in your information and they recommend different scholarships for you based off of your information so that you can apply to them if you choose to do so.
So another myth we wanted to go over is that extra credit or extracurriculars compensate for low academic performance. So this is false. It's not really a good strategy to try to rely on extra credit to say your grade at the end of the semester. It's better for your grade and for your peace of mind and your stress level to try to form good studying strategies so that you can do your best for your exams, and then you look at extra credit as an extra boost, like to take you from that 89% to 91%, you know, to like push you over into a higher grade rather than taking you from like a low grade to the next level low grade, you know. It's not a good idea to do it that way. It's definitely better to try to do your best from the start. And then for extracurriculars, most colleges won't allow you to participate in like sports or clubs and things like that your academics are if you're performing poorly in your academics. So it's always best to try to put your best foot forward from the beginning, kind of tackle everything as it's coming rather than trying to like, you know, cram in the end, and it adds a lot more stress to your plate.
Definitely, definitely. And it's also important to keep in mind with extracurriculars is they're there to make you seem more like a well-rounded student, not a better student. So it helps, you want to do good in your academics, but on top of that, if you can do well in your clubs or if you choose to do so your sports, go ahead and go for it. But remember that you still want to do good in your coursework and in your classes because that'll be the first thing that colleges look for, and then they consider your extracurriculars in your life. And you can even see the breakdown for the CSU application on their website. Go ahead and check it out and see how what is considered when they're applying. And each college at the same time, even though they're part of the CSU system, considers it differently. But it's still important that you have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, definitely. So we do have a few more myths for you all, but we're going to leave those in our description for you all to go ahead and look at on your own.
Yeah, so we'll leave them down below in the courses in the video description so you guys can look at and keep in touch. Stay in touch. Keep looking at. Keep on the lookout for another episode of Broncos Scoop. This is brought to you by the Office of Student Success by Project Caminos at Cal Poly Pomona. So stay tuned. We'll have some more episodes coming up. Then.